Ladies and gentlemen, this is El Cochino, Tom Lawler, and I'd like to welcome you to the podcast that puts the lotion on its own skin, LuchaWorld. Bitchin'.
Welcome everyone to LuchaWorld Podcast episode number 99. Fredo Esparza here. I'm going solo this week, but not really. This week I have a special guest. He is a wrestler. He has zero fear also. That's right, guys. And he's actually been at the temple too. So if you don't know who that is, it is not Penta Zero M. Unfortunately, it is not Volador Jr. it's VD Zero Fear.
Venereal Drummond is back.
Vandal Drummond. Kurt Brown is back.
Yes, I have been to the temple, and ever since I visited the temple, I have since learned there is no God in that temple.
You know, I was going to say, you've actually seen Ray Phoenix.
Yes.
But I think you probably don't even remember seeing him. I think I just pointed him out as he was passing by.
Yes.
But I think you might have not even noticed him.
I did see King Phoenix.
That's right, we did see him wrestle, though.
Yes, and but more memorably recently, I saw the match between him and Barbaro Cavernario.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was my enthusiasm or theirs, because they looked like they just had their working boots on like crazy that night. And I don't, maybe this is a little naive of me, but I don't know if they've worked together before, have they?
No, that's the first time.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time in a singles match. They worked trios matches.
Because I had a lot of fun watching that match between the two of them. I mean, two of the best workers in the biz, in my opinion.
This is just to let people know that is actually Kurt Brown. He has actually watched current wrestling and is not going to talk about 1930s. Actually, you do. You have been doing a lot more.
Speaking of 1930s,
you have actually been keeping up with a lot of that stuff too.
So. No. Actually, I've
a lot of research. I've been seeing that on your on Facebook.
Yeah, I have been having a lot of fun with that. I am both researching just a lot of nostalgia, of course, history.
I found something interesting. I don't remember that's the next thing I'm going to write about of those write-ups for the Lucha magazine. Mm-hmm. But I actually found, I don't know if you've ever heard of this wrestler, but you've heard of Gringo Mendoza, right?
Yes, I have.
Well, have you ever heard of, from Monterrey, luchador Gringo Mendoza?
No.
Yes. I found a luchador named Gringo Mendoza.
Oh my lord, that's
in a magazine. I think it's in one of the
beautiful.
Halcón magazines. Yeah,
oh
Gringo
my God,
Mendoza.
That's awesome.
And he hates Gringo Mendoza. This is in 1986, 87. But that's something I was looking at. I was like, whoa, Gringo Mendoza. I was going to ask if you've ever heard of
I never heard of him, but I already like the name.
Yeah.
I wish I thought of it first.
That is a genius. I love that name.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. No, I've been watching a lot of stuff. I have to give kind of vague descriptions because there's only a few matches that I took.
You obviously watched all the CML openers.
I watched a lot of them, yes.
You did?
And it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, except I finally got to see Super Astro Jr.
He's good.
I like him.
Yeah, he's good.
I like him.
Did you ever watch his tournament appearances?
No, I haven't.
You should go back.
This was actually the first time I ever saw Super Astro Jr. So,
if you go on Lucha Blog's Lucha database, you could just find all the if they're on the CML shows. He actually puts a link to the match.
Oh no way!
So if you're going through a Friday show, you know how it's the entire show. Instead of just going, and actually does it. He posts it on the YouTube channel also, on their on the video page. Mm-hmm. He puts the timestamps for it, so you could actually find that. So it's easier for you. If you just want to do a match finder search on Super Astro Jr.,
I'd like to
you find it on there, and then there's a link to it, and you could look.
I enjoyed watching him. One of the things I dig is, he's a good worker, and he's also kind of keeping that. How do I say? Keeping the ambience of his dad. Like he reminds me a lot of his dad, not in look so much, but in the way he wrestles.
Yeah, because he's a little taller, I think, and not as chubby.
First time I ever saw Super Astro, Hadco Plaza in 1981.
Wow.
When he was a local boy, pretty much full time.
Yeah.
And first time I ever saw a live Superplex was the recently the late Mr. Golden Iron. Mm-hmm. just in a little place in Santa Ana, he did this awesome superplex where he superplexes Super Astro, but did it like Harley Race style, where he just held him vertically
that's awesome.
the longest time.
Yeah.
And then when they went down, the slamming sound was just amazing, you know. And it wasn't like a uncomfortable slamming sound. It's like you could, they landed the way they're supposed to land. But
we'll get into these dangerous moves in a bit.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. And I guess I should save this kind of talk for a classic podcast sometime soon.
Yes. Yeah. What else have you been watching? You've been enjoying? Well, you watched the Cavernario
Barbaro.
Ray Phoenix. What'd you think of that match?
God, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if it was my enthusiasm as a fan, but they looked like they were really trying to impress there. That was just such a great match. And of course,
and that's really what they were doing, because King Phoenix, as he's known in CML, he was trying to impress get that new fan base behind him.
Right.
And Cavernario wanted to match up with the guy who's a big independent star, who's a bigger star internationally than he is probably in Mexico right now.
Yes, that's true.
So I think that's really what's...
And I don't know, that's something I always dug with, like, if I'd ever speak to a young wrestler who was excited about wrestling somebody they knew for the first time, whether it was an idol or a peer from their same generation, I know there's something really cool about it when they're hungry to show it off.
Yeah. It's been a fun couple of weeks with CMLL. Like, ever since they've allowed these independent guys to come in, I mean, every week there's something you're just looking forward to watching.
It's awesome. I mean, I don't know where this is going to go, but for right now, it could possibly be a bit of a crossroads, a turning point where CML uses more independent guys. Yeah, I mean,
and then it could end at any point.
It could end at any point. Yeah, you never say for certain.
Yeah.
You never say never. Anything could happen, but right now, man, this is a really cool period. And plus, I know I say it like a parrot every time on this podcast, but there's nothing like the Dynamitas. They're really good. They are so awesome.
It's like I was watching this past Friday's show with Guerreros Laguneros versus Clan Kaoz. That's I think you might have seen them. Did you see their match?
Clan Kaoz, who?
Cyber the main man. I should mention they're CMLL names now.
Okay, Cyber the main man.
Cyber the main man, who is Cybernetico. Mm-hmm. Charlie Rockstar, who's Charlie Rockstar or Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
And the Chris.
The Chris,
who is better known to us as El Zorro. The Chris.
I want to know the story behind that.
Well, his real name is Cristobal.
The Chris.
But they should have just gone with his real name, but the Chris.
That reminds me when the
I think they were going with like the Miz, and they were like, hey, let's just call him the Chris.
The Chris.
But they were.
Wait, if you're gonna do that, why not call King Phoenix Raymond Phoenix? They were having this, and if you watch the previous match, they were horrible in the match. Mm-hmm. But against the Guerreros Laguneros, at least, like, they were still kind of bad. Mm-hmm. But the Guerreros Laguneros were so good that you couldn't be too bad. You couldn't be too bad. Like, the thing with Clan Kaoz is that they're not a regular, they're not a trio that has been together for a long time, or have you could tell they don't train and come up with moves together compared to like Guerreros Laguneros. You could tell they come up with moves together. They spend time in the gym coming up with stuff. Mm-hmm. So when you're watching the Clan Kaoz, they do that thing where they look a little bit lost out there. Like, what are we doing next? Like, one of them will suddenly be like, what are we doing next? And then like Cybernetico, I'll give Cybernetico credit. He doesn't look as like he's horrible. Yeah, but he's not. You could tell he's putting in the effort. Yes.
Like, when he's not the worst guy in your trio, that's your trio has a problem.
Exactly. And I'll give credit to anybody who gives effort. I know a lot of fans disagree with me, but if somebody's trying and they're not hurting the other person...
So can I call you the Kurt from now on?
I am the Kurt, yes. I guess it sounds better than...
Or Kurt the main man.
I guess it sounds better than the VD.
That's true. I thought about calling you that, but...
Well, or that's a little rude. Why don't we just call me the Syphilis?
Yeah, it's just... I thought... So whenever people tell me about the Dinamitas, how they're the best trio, and then you see the Guerreros Laguneros, and then you know what they do against, like, really good trios, It's like, oh, maybe they're kind of. I think those are the two best trios.
I agree.
I think Ingobernables, it's kind of a good. They're not. They're a good faction, but they're not like their matches aren't. They can go all over the place.
It's like.
And they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to be.
Exactly. And they get over, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they know that.
Yeah.
And
even Best has been putting a little more effort in the ring. Like he's not.
Oh.
But you know what it is? It's not that he's like that much better. It's that CML lately has been putting their opening matches, and it's like these really crappy guys. So it's like, oh, okay, you got more crappy guys.
I'm usually kind of patient with the openers, but
you skipped them.
I watched more than you know. And
You're just too lazy. You don't want to skip it.
and I kind of want to give it a chance, but I am going to start skipping it, not because
it depends on who's in the match. Like if you see them, it's like okay, it's Takeda versus
Robin.
If it's Robin, he's still kind of passable. But if it's like Inquisidor and Hijo del Signo versus
Espanto Jr.
Espanto Jr. versus that, and then it doesn't matter who the Technico is. It's like it's going to suck.
Exactly, and it's not the worst matches I've seen, but it's kind of like I'm seeing the same opening matches over and over again, and it's just kind of like...
Well, the opening match for like CML, it's kind of like going to an indie show, like here locally, and getting and the first 3 matches you watch kind of feel like that opening match, which kind of tells you how bad wrestling can be at the local level, at the independent level, and because everybody thinks it's like PWG and stuff, like all these great matches. Most independent wrestling isn't that like that. Most independent wrestling is like 2 or 3 matches where it's like, this isn't that good.
And it depends on where it is, because there's been so many local promotions in Mexico for I don't even know how long, but I know there's tons of indie wrestling here, like I said, from the bottom of the barrel crappy wrestling to really good wrestling. But in Mexico, it seems like there's been indies forever and ever, and they all have their local scene, their local stars. Yeah. And I think it all depends what region it is, because
depends on the booker also. The guy
exactly.
Promoting also.
See, I remember when I first knew Conan. So it was like '89. He says you should see some of the local wrestlers in other areas. Some of them could blow away. Me and everybody else, like their work, but I know that's not every single one. But you turned me on to some really good indie guys. Yeah, and you actually watched AAA. For the first time in like 5 or 6 years.
Actually, no, you watched the Triple Mania. Never mind.
That's right.
and I apologize for... Actually, I didn't even tell you to watch it. You watched it yourself.
I did watch it. It was on my own card. Yeah. It was on a card. I fell for the hype.
I think it was like... It wasn't the year I skipped Superboy's birthday party.
It was the following year.
It was the following one, and I told you not to watch it. Remember, I told you, you don't have to watch it.
I should have listened, but... that should be called, triple manic depression.
Yeah.
That was the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life.
It wasn't that. It wasn't.
It was. Pay-per-views, that was the worst pay-per-view.
You didn't. Yeah, that's right. You didn't watch.
I never saw that.
The WCW uncensored.
Oh God, I know there have been worse pay-per-views.
Heroes of Wrestling, was that the one?
Oh, I heard. Yeah, I heard descriptions of that, and I'm still tempted to find that someplace.
Yeah. It probably is online.
Yeah, because it sounded like one of those train wrecks. You probably can't watch the whole thing, but. But the indie, in fact, we probably should have opened the podcast, because that's actually big news. I actually watched some AAA.
Yeah. Well, I opened with the big news that you actually watched wrestling.
Yes, I did. But it's amazing that
any wrestling nowadays. I'm shocked you watched it, because I think I just assumed the only wrestling you watched in the last 2 months was like that one match we went to go watch at Bar Wrestling.
Well, I didn't watch that. I tried to watch that.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
The Bar Wrestling, I tried to watch it, but I couldn't see anything. Everybody was... I don't think we ever talked about that, really.
I caught the top part of it. We didn't, because I did the podcast afterwards, and you weren't around.
It looks like
we did the Lucha Classica.
Yeah, I'll just say it in a nutshell. Bar Wrestling in Baldwin Park, which is a huge hit, is selling out. Maybe if you're into watching the top of wrestlers' heads... Yes. There are no chairs there, so everybody... It's all standing room.
If you're under 5'8", if you're 5'8" and under, don't go, or get there early and stand in the front row.
Exactly, and if you're tall, do the other people a favor. Don't wear like a pork pie hat or something like that.
If you're really tall, stand in the back. Come on.
Yeah, really. Exactly. I mean, the bar wrestling. If you're young and you're one of these people who like to, get in the mob in a concert, like right up at the stage, this is the kind of thing for you. People love it, but no, we left very early in the show. It was hot. It was sweaty. I suspect there was probably some fire codes.
Also the room, the building wasn't set up properly because I think some of the sides in the building were kind of like smaller.
Yes,
there wasn't as much room. Although they still did dives on those sides, but it just the whole thing just I was talking to Rob Viper about it, and I was telling him about how we both kind of were talking about how it just doesn't seem like it's the right place to run a wrestling show.
No,
it doesn't seem like a comfortable place to.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't.
And we did go, so we know that
we do. Yeah,
I was going to interview Taya at that show, but she was talking to Melissa Santos. So.
That's right. It was getting so hot in there.
And then I thought we should wait for Ray Phoenix and Penta to interview them, but it was kind of like we couldn't see anything, and they weren't showing up, and it was hot.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then we saw. Ray Phoenix's wife packing up stuff.
That's right. Yeah, so you knew they were going to get out.
Yeah,
of
it's
there
like
soon.
he's not going to want to talk.
But I mean, it's not for us. If you're somebody who's kind of like slightly adventurous and don't mind being, crammed up against a bunch of other people, shoving your way up to the ring to see. The people there look like they're having a blast.
Did you see that couple that looked like they were like 5 feet tall?
No,
like they moved from the side where I was at, the right side. The wall, and they moved to the back. And I don't know if they were trying to get a better view, but when they moved to the back, they couldn't see anything. Like the girl was like at least 4'11".
Oh my god!
Or shorter, and the guy was like 5'1", 5'2", probably.
Well, okay, so for all you tall folks out there who are reasonably strong and want to make a little bit of money, here's an idea: you buy a ticket and you charge for people to sit on your shoulders.
You didn't want to do that for me, and I was kind of upset.
I know, but
well, I'm sure
it was an old injury. I swear. That's the only reason I didn't. I'm strong.
100-degree weather, and you couldn't handle it. Come on, it wasn't 100-degree. Like
it felt like
it was like 70,
it
like
was a
80.
and you know, well, both of us, we've been in like sweaty little hellholes and have been fine with it. But this one was just So like I said, the people there looked like they were having a blast. So it's very popular. You folks might like it, just not my cup of tea.
From the sound of the crowd, the first match was the one match we had was really great.
That's how we gauged it.
Yeah.
That's how they should gauge matches. Instead of giving them like 5-6 stars, they should have that what's you see on game shows, the applause-o-meter. The sound of the crowd shows how good the match is.
You know what I felt like when we went to this was like if we were like an episode of like Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm. Where you go somewhere and it's like the worst idea possible.
Exactly.
You're not going to see shit. The only difference is we didn't complain about it. We just laughed.
Yeah, we didn't complain about it. And we didn't try to, like, come up with a strategy to fix things. Like in Seinfeld, you try to fix something.
Yeah, like get closer. Yeah, stuff like that. We just laughed. We're like, let's just go.
Oh, God, yeah.
And we paid for it, too, which was really...
Yeah, so I feel comfortable saying my 2 cents on it because we did pay for it.
And they're doing well, which is great.
It is. And then, like I said, if you're the adventurous type, go for it. It might be a lot of fun, but
I think also the other thing with bar wrestling is that one show had Ray Phoenix and Penta not against each other. I think they were in a tag match, but their other shows they're just not my thing because there are a lot of women female wrestlers and then a lot of ex-WW wrestlers. So it's not my thing.
That's not my thing either.
It's not something I'm going to go out of my way to watch.
Exactly.
So it's like I'm not going to get too worked up about it. I went to this one, probably the last one I'll end up going to. I'd probably go to PWG's show if we could actually like get tickets to that.
If we could, I'd be up for that.
I know Puma King's going to be on the
Is he really?
Battle of Los Angeles this year.
Oh wow!
You want me to ask him to get us tickets? Does he need like sidekicks dressed in cat outfits?
Oh, that would be awesome.
We show up.
I would do that just to dress in a cat outfit.
I would go just like if he said we could do that. I would totally do that.
Oh hell, I'd be there. Yeah. I'd be there so fast. Yeah.
I don't think we could handle the heat because that during that time period it's really hot in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it is.
Much like it is right now.
And this is an unusually hot summer for us. I'm sure all the people on the East Coast and the South feel terrible for us.
You know what they're probably thinking is like, man, don't you guys complain about cold weather, going to wrestling shows during cold weather. Now you're complaining about going to wrestling shows during warm weather. It's like, but yeah,
I would have made a terrible pioneer.
Yes, we're great at wrestling shows with proper air conditioning.
Exactly. I'm a city slicker. I'm a domestic house cat. I like my air conditioning. Well, we've been to some pretty hot arenas where it didn't bug us a lot, but it's just when this was over the top.
Well, to be fair, that one time we went to Bart's show in City of Industry, I think it was a PWG show also. We stood next to that ginormous fan, and we just enjoyed it because we were just standing.
Oh, that fan was awesome.
Yes, we just stayed there the entire time.
People, this was this fan that was probably like 10 feet tall.
Yes, it was like our size. Like
I mean... I was worried we were like moths or flies, get too close to it and we get sucked in, but it felt so good.
we could not hear each other speak at all, and we were just like...
Yes, and it wasn't on that show, but it was right around that time a wrestler had to be taken to the hospital for heat stroke.
Oh yeah, really? Who?
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but...
oh man,
God, who was it? It was one of those guys who in the time when, Human Tornado was on fire and...
Yeah, I just don't remember.
Yeah, but I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, wow.
But these four...
We're on fire, too.
Boys. We are! We're totally on fire!
They were on fire, too, by the way.
Fire, totally! Astrolux and Aramis versus Toxin and Latigo.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, this was one of the best matches I've seen all year.
Yes. I'm telling you,
wow.
all the AAA openers are on my match of the year list, even though they might not be like top 10.
God, these guys were amazing. I mean, okay, what I liked is, there were tons of high spots in the match, but every hold they applied, I think without exception, and every flying move they did, they were really tight. I mean, they were snug on their holds. It was really solid wrestling. Because as much as I like lucha, you see so many things where when they're doing a flying move, they kind of feign an arm lock, or it's a very loose headlock or a flying mare or something like that. These guys are solid, and I just haven't seen that in a long time. And I know a lot of people would watch this match and say spot monkeys. They did spots almost from beginning to end, but it looked like they were going for a win. It's like they did lots of pinfall attempts, and they were pinfall attempts where it felt like it was going to be the finish of the match, which I think is hard to do this in this day and age.
Yeah, you know what I should have told you to also watch that I forgot? Mm-hmm. You got to watch the feud between the OGTs versus Poder del Norte. Because it looks like one of those old school lucha feuds, like brawls, blood, there's a lot of bad, there's a lot of sloppy chair shots.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of chair shots, then you're like, I think that's the one thing, like a lot of like when people complain about moves and stuff like that, I think I'm less willing to jump into those debates because I watch this stuff and it's like sloppy as fuck.
God,
but it's like who cares? It's like it's not my body.
Exactly. One, if they get their nuts off doing it, power to them. I hate.
And how many times do we talk to luchadors and they're like, oh, I don't care. This is I'd rather die doing this than doing anything else.
If that's what they want, then power to them. I do have a hard time. I have to say full disclosure. I have not seen New Japan in a long time. They're super great, I know. They're excellent workers, but it's hard to watch them doing such risky stuff all the time. And for me, it is. I know a lot of people enjoy it.
Well, we'll get to them a little bit, but that trios feud was really great. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they should have ended it, and I think they're probably just going to keep going on and on.
Yeah,
because they went to a hair match. And, OGTs won. OGTs gave them their respect and all that. Mm-hmm. And instead of, that being the end of it being Mexico, they have to keep booking, for the for the promoters and all that. They still keep bringing it up and stuff like that. So it's going to continue. But that should be something that should just, have ended right there.
It should have ended.
It's a really great feud. Before the LA Park versus Rush feud started, I thought that was probably the feud of the year. But now Rush and LA Park has been so great that... that's been awesome.
Yeah, I went out of my way just to watch the LA Park versus Rush match.
Did you watch all of them? All the stuff leading up to it?
I watched that match, and then I watched the very first In fact, I was even more excited about the very first appearance LA Park made.
Yeah.
That guy has magic on the microphone.
Both of those guys are really like...
They're great. What I love about LA Park, it's like an old school babyface who's greeting the whole arena. He's greeting the fans.
Yeah.
And in a way, a lot of wrestlers don't. It's almost like he's personally...
Well, in Mexico, in CML, they do that. Like, they all do that. Like,
they do that, but there was something different about it.
They all do it, like, Buenas Noches, Arena Mexico. Yeah. But what LA Park did is he doesn't just, like, greet them, but he also apologizes to them for cursing or for, like, being too violent.
I didn't catch that. Yeah, That's great.
Or he apologizes to CML for what he's doing, so that actually adds more to it.
It does, and it sounds more like he's just shy of having a conversation with the fans instead of because I know a lot of wrestlers greet the fans and we love you, but no, he actually engages them.
Yeah,
this, I know it's not going to happen, but with the Observer Wrestler of the Year being.
We've actually,
he talked about that. I think that would be my vote. I mean,
a lot of people have been talking about who should be Wrestler of the Year.
Because a big part of Wrestler of the Year.
He's not going to get it.
He's not going to get it, but I don't think I've voted in 5-6 years, but I do.
You might have to.
I want to vote for LA Park, and so I can give the Dinamitas a vote for that. No, I have to say this. A big part of Wrestler of the Year is how influential you are, how you can draw. And
he's drawing. He has been a huge draw for CMLL this year.
And I think he's the most prolific wrestler who is now both working in CMLL and AAA, and he's still doing indies, right?
Yeah.
He's his own that Bruiser Brody, eat your heart out. He's
basically doing what Bruiser Brody probably wished he could have done.
Yeah, I become more a fan of his every year. Well, of course, ever since when he left AAA and said, "I'm a hippie."
Yes.
Next to Mickey Doyle and Mike Boyette, LA Park's my favorite hippie.
The thing about like LA Park. With like LA Park, I think he should he's got to get some consideration for Wrestler of the Year in the Observer. But it's going to basically be Kenny Omega or Okada or somebody like that. And I think also because there's Dave so much skews more towards New Japan and WWE and his fan base also, that fan base for Observer also does to the point where it's like it's not that the rest of us don't. I think the rest of us that might vote have kind of just fallen to the point where it's like, let's not vote. Who gives a fuck? We're not going to get our guy.
Exactly. And it that's okay because I mean there is so much great wrestling out there right now, and New Japan is kind of the dominant force out there as far as the sheet readers go. Yeah. And it's getting such a cult following here in the States.
Yeah, because it's basically from New Japan, you're basically getting all this All In.
Exactly.
All these other shows. Ring of Honor is getting a little more recognition because of New Japan. And now CML is kind of getting a little more recognition. You get a lot of New Japan fans who started, they'll follow me now. Yeah. But it's not because of CML, it's because of the CML guys that work New Japan. And it's like... And unfortunately, for them, it's like, I'm not like this. It's not that I don't like New Japan. I'll watch it. I don't watch a lot of it, but I watch enough where it's like I know who everybody is. But it's like to me, it's more about lucha for me than anything else.
Yeah, if you're gonna ask me, I'm more of a lucha libre fan than a wrestling fan overall. Yeah. I like wrestling, but lucha is what I grew up with a hybrid of lucha and American wrestling because a lot of luchadores were in the LaBelle promotion when I grew up. Yeah, so I got a taste of everything.
The one thing I will say is that. Even though I say that about how, you're not going to get these guys to get votes in the Observer Awards and stuff like that. But at the same time, last year, Rush placed, 7th?
Exactly.
And he did nothing.
And Micro Man got second place for Rookie of the Year.
So I think there is more of a... I do think LA Park and Rush and probably Penta are going to get some sort of votes. Penta Zero M. I think Ray Phoenix might also... I just think there's a little more interest in lucha because of what's happening not in Mexico, but what's happening to these guys outside of Mexico. And then people are saying, hey, I got to watch this stuff in Mexico. I think the only thing that is really captivating fans that aren't really lucha fans in Mexico, as far as American fans, it's the LA Park Rush feud.
Yes.
I think that's what's captivating. I don't think the AAA stuff, I think they're probably like, I don't give a fuck about that stuff. It's like, I don't want to watch that. I don't care about this other female stuff. I want to watch LA Park versus Rush. And then they'll watch Dragon Lee and Ray Phoenix because they see them in the US and now they want to, or in Japan, they want to see them in Mexico.
I mean, that is a very cool thing that there are a lot of people who appreciate much different kinds of wrestling. Because I remember a lot of the smart fans, some of them loved Lucha, but then there were a bunch who just like,
hated
why
it.
do you watch that crap? If you like it so much, why don't you go live there? I was asked that by several different dickwads.
Because that makes a big difference from you watching it as opposed to like not watching it. It's like, yes, let me go to Mexico.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, that's why I know that Park will not get Wrestler of the Year, but despite any denials people make, in 20 years people are going to look back at the Observer for historical purposes, and they will look at and I would just like to see some of the guys show that there were votes cast for them.
Let's say LA Park does work. He's going to work Triple Mania. We know that already. Mm-hmm. Let's say he works the anniversary. Win or loses his dropping his mask in either place, but he has 2 huge matches. How high do you think he ends up in the Observer Awards or in anything? In any it's really the Observer Awards because I don't think there's other people. I think the voting is more just picking one person.
Yeah, it's hard.
Where do you think he would end up?
You mean in Wrestler of the Year specifically?
Yes. Just that.
I could picture him around like maybe number 5, something like that.
5.
I think, but
because of the WWE and New Japan.
And New Japan. I do think New Japan will dominate.
Probably have like 2 guys ahead of him, and then WWE maybe 1 or 2.
Being on there is cool.
5 is pretty good, you know.
And they're
What about the PWI 500?
That, I don't know why I don't read the PWI 500 because sometimes I need a good laugh.
Yeah, I think Penta will make the top 10 on that because he's an Impact.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Lord,
that should be like the someone's podcast, like just talking about PWI the entire time.
That would be funny.
As if it was really real or shit.
Yeah. Do you know our friend Rob Courtney Craze?
Yeah, when he didn't like being in that.
Oh, he hated being in that.
But
that was I love that he was in it just because he was a guy who didn't like to hype himself and.
Yeah, I think it was more that because I think that should be like even if you're not happy about it or you think it's corny. You should be honored to be in anybody's list.
Absolutely.
I think you should be if somebody when I used to do the LuchaWorld 100, if I had you in the top 100, you should be like happy. Like it should because it's not an insult. It's just me. It's my opinion thinking of of 100.
But I gotta say, in all honesty, your top 100 carries a little more validity than the PWI 500.
Well, I did have Joe Leader on one of my list at one point, but he was in a good tag match with Nicho Millonario in 2008 or 2010.
I would put somebody in a top 100 if they're not much of a wrestler but still get over and still is a conscientious worker.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't that good, but
yeah. Well, no.
It was a down year. Even I'll admit it was a down year for Lucha.
Yeah.
That stumped you. That really stumped you. The Joe Leader conversation.
Yeah, that was a road bump wasn't it?
Yes.
What is it about Joe Leader that made me stutter? I don't know.
I love how AAA's bringing in all these guys, but they still have Joe Leader in the show. Like, dude, really? Come on, man. People, I don't know what it is.
He's probably like Mr. Niebla. Like I always think Mr. Niebla has sex videos of CMLL administration, and says, "Oh yeah, you can fire me anytime you want, but you better bring me back."
I think it's gotten to the point. I think Mr. Niebla's gotten to the point where he's talked about his personal problems. Mm-hmm. To where he's gone from somebody I felt like I was like, oh, fire this guy. He's always to the point where he's become like this amusing character in the promotion. Well, personally, having met him, I know I think he's a great he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I could see why they would not fire him because he seems like such a nice easygoing guy. But at the same time, it's like, man, dude, you can't give this guy so many opportunities. But now I see why. Now I see why they're probably trying to help him get through that whole problem.
Yeah, and except for the Japan debacle a few years ago, I mean, maybe he's been unreliable, but he hasn't hurt anybody.
Well, he's too drunk to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? He hasn't. Like he hasn't done stuff like Scott Hall was doing.
Yeah, my favorite thing is like when he's like drunk in matches. Like if you've ever seen it, like I think he's teamed up with Negro Casas and Felino when he's been a little bit, when he's been a little drunk. They'll like move him to the side. Like they'll just move him to the side, and then like the one guy who has to work with him always like make sure like okay, let's just like let me hold him right here.
Yeah. And I remember when that interview we did with Superboy, because the two of you were saying he was so great at one time, and I agree, it's so true. But I really do love the modern day Mr. Niebla. I just hope he's. I mean,
they had a really he did pretty good in that one match. I think it was the Ray Phoenix where they did a trios match. I thought he did pretty good. There was one match I saw recently where he did pretty good.
Yeah, and you know I hope he's okay.
He's over. So.
Yeah, if you're over, you're over. Yeah, you know.
He's not going anywhere.
That's cool. They got the right. This is one thing that CMLL does. You know, they do their share of boneheaded things, but something they did very, very well is where do you put somebody like Mr. Niebla if they drank too much? With geniuses like Negro Casas
and Cavernario.
Exactly.
And Felino sometimes, depending on Felino's, depending on what he's saying about him being part of Pesta Negra. One week he isn't, the next week he is.
It's funny. I am. I'm not. I am. I'm not.
What was I going to ask? I was going to... Oh, God. What was it? Oh, all these indie guys in CML, we were talking about how it's kind of changed it up. So what have you thought of all these guys so far, like their appearances? You've obviously talked about Ray Phoenix.
I haven't seen Penta yet.
Really good. You haven't seen Penta?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
You didn't see his run-in? His run-in was really good. His run-in saved us from the horrible Clan Kaoz match. Clan Kaoz worked with Caristico, Volador, and Valiente, and it was a really horrible match. Penta saved us as he attacked Caristico, ending this match early.
Wouldn't that be funny if you found out later that there wasn't supposed to be a run-in, but he says, I have to save the fans. You can make him like an El Santo superhero. Yeah. He saves the fans from horrible matches.
My favorite thing about Clan Kaoz was Ultimo Guerrero was interviewed. They had the Girls Laguneros in an interview, and Ultimo Guerrero, if you've ever heard him, he likes to do a lot of, he likes to speak in English. So he first of all, he thought their name was Plan Kaoz.
Plan Kaoz?
So he's like...
Clan Kaoz.
Yeah, he's like... Good. So they correct him. Then he was trying to name the guys. He's like... They're like... Cyber. And he's like... Seabird the main, man. And he said it like that. And then he's like... Who was the other guy? He couldn't remember what Zorro's name was. He's like... Zorro. And he's like... The Chris. And he looked at the guys like... The Chris? Like... Well, who came up with that name?
Like, almost like remember in WCW when Master P, he couldn't remember the names of like Kurt Hennig and Bobby Duncan Jr. So
the Cowboys.
The Cowboy. I went the Cowboy guy.
The Cowboy guys. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Master P.
Oh boy.
That should have been Master Z.
I like that. Hey, my friend Tom Hankins worked as Mr. Z.
Oh, Mr. Z.
So there we are, yeah.
The Z or something.
The Z.
Or just Z.
The Z, I like that even better.
Z-Man. Oh, I'm going to tell him. There's no, that probably is trademarked, right? By Tom Zink. Yeah.
Well, but unless his estate has any kind of a copyright over it.
Yeah.
You know. God rest his soul.
Because that way you have Cyber, the main man, and the Z-Man.
Z-Man, I like that.
Yeah, but his match, they had the match this past Friday. It wasn't as good. Because everybody's feuding with Caristico basically right now.
Right.
Like everybody is literally feuding with Caristico. Caristico has a feud with Dragon Lee. Mystico, Volador Jr. Now Valiente doesn't like Caristico either because he's siding with Volador Jr. Penta doesn't like him. Rush, Los Ingobernables don't like him. So everybody, so Caristico's trying to figure out who he could team up with. So he's picking Los Guerreros Laguneros. And so as people will remind you, Guerreros Laguneros have a history of having their partners turn on them. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be a promising situation for him.
But, and I mean, this sounds like CMLL might doing some good planning if they're adding to Caristico's nemesis.
So many possibilities right now.
Yeah.
Like you have Ray Phoenix and Cavernario, Ray Phoenix versus Dragon Lee, Penta versus Dragon Lee. Penta's also feuding with Dragon Lee also on the Indies, or like they had a little run-in on the Indie show. What about Hijo de Ale Park? Did you watch his match? You saw him when he teamed up with...
I saw him when he teamed up with his dad.
Yeah.
He seemed okay. I mean...
You know, you can't... you can't see him being indie level until you see him standing next to Angel de Oro Niebla Roja. Like, that is when you know, okay, this dude does not go to the gym at all. Like you look at them, it's like, holy shit. That was like the one time I thought he looked very indie level. Mm-hmm. But like the last couple of times he appeared in CML, he looked a little more. He fit in a little better.
I only saw him one time before that.
He's not. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's not his dad, but he's.
Yeah.
But,
he's not his dad.
Yeah, but he's also not Hijo del Solitario.
No.
That's probably the worst second generation wrestler I ever saw.
Yeah, I would say he's more like in the. Who's like a good junior that's.
That's good, okay. But not great. I don't know.
Hijo LA Park.
Yeah, he'll be the one we...
Because he's not even Hijo Santo level, although Hijo Santo was great, you know.
Yeah, he was.
I hate when my YouTube channel, now that I'm posting all that old stuff, people are constantly shitting on like Conan, Hijo Santo. Those are the top two guys that they just...
Really?
And I'm like, Hijo Santo's great. What are you guys talking about? Or and Atlantis, it's like, oh, they gave him. So I was like, dude, these guys are all great. What are you like? Conan wasn't good, but he was over. He was over.
I mean, he you know, if he could just kind of stay with one promotion, if he could get over that, I'd call him the most brilliant man in wrestling. I mean,
the fact that he's still getting work is
that's amazing.
Makes him.
He's the cat with 18 lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing that he's had, you know, clashes with promotions, both major and minor, and they'll still bring him back. So, and I mean, one of the cool things is knowing him at the beginning of his career. You know, people like me or Greg Regalado would sometimes send him tapes of stuff from Japan and that kind of thing. And it was really fun because he was really trying to figure out the business. And you could tell he's somebody who was confident, you know, had a big ego and stuff like that. But he was so analytical. And he'd be opinionated on something that he thought sucked. But then on reflection, he would say, you know what, you know, I thought this sucked, but I see why they do this angle or use this wrestler, or like I get it. Like, he is somebody who, you know, for the drawbacks he's had, he's somebody who really did like work hard at trying to understand how the business works. Not many wrestlers do that.
Yeah, that's true. So we were talking about this off air, actually, when you called, and I asked if you watched Dragon Lee versus Hiromu Takahashi on the G1 special New Japan show in San Francisco, and you did not watch it, but during that match, it was actually a really good match, but it had a pretty unfortunate moment where Dragon Lee did the Phoenix Plex, and I think he kind of didn't grab him properly and let him go in a little bit. He was like, I don't know if he just, he was too loose for him to like do the move, and he let him go, and he pretty much landed on his head. Yeah. It looked horrible live. I think you've seen the
I saw the GIF.
The GIF and stuff, so the GIF or GIF, whatever.
Yeah, the GIF. I never know how to pronounce it. GIF, GIF.
Yeah.
Jiffy.
What'd you think of that? Did you see that? You've seen that?
I mean, that, when you're doing, again, I don't watch a lot of New Japan, but I think it just has to happen, and that's not
just New Japan, because Dragon Lee does that in CMLL too.
No, that's right, but I'd say it did surprise me that it was that move. That
didn't surprise me, because that move has actually hurt people. Like,
oh, so a lot of people have been hurt.
Just Ray Horse.
Well, let me put it this way. Whenever I saw that move, I kind of like, that doesn't look healthy, but it looks like he's been doing it a while, and
I think Ray Horse, and I think there's been someone else that wasn't as seriously injured as, because Ray Horse went to the hospital.
Oh, geez.
I think he was out for like a week.
Then he should do a different move.
And then this one with Hiromu, I think there was someone, it might have been Negro Casas, where he might have got like knocked silly a bit. But Negro Casas gets knocked silly in every match. Like, he's already told us he does that, happens often. But it's like, when it happened with Ray Horus, and first of all, even just Ray Horus, I think it just, that move kind of looks like it's very risky. Yeah. And he doesn't need it.
He doesn't.
At the same time, Hiromu probably would have been okay with him doing it. He's done it to him other times. They've had plenty of other matches. I'm sure he's done it in those other matches. And Hiromu was just as crazy as Dragon Lee, so you already knew. Like, you've seen their matches before.
Ray Horus?
No, Dragon Lee and Hiromu, not Ray Horus. You've never seen Ray Horus versus Dragon Lee.
No, I haven't. No, I just meant...
Yeah, Hiromu versus Dragon Lee.
I thought you meant general matches. I haven't.
You've never seen Hiromu versus Dragon Lee?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
When?
Kamaitachi. Dragon Lee versus Kamaitachi. You saw their match.
Oh shit! Yes, I did.
Yes. Yeah, you've seen a bunch of those matches. You've seen a couple of those matches.
That's right.
They're all kind of insane.
Yeah, they are.
So you knew something. They ran the risk of something happening.
That is true. And
because I think it's hilarious. Because
I totally forgot about
people totally were blaming Dragon Lee. It's like, dude, Hiromu had a part in it because he allows that stuff.
Exactly.
He's okay with it. They were even before that match. They did this. First of all, Dragon Lee did a foot stomp to the outside. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how he does it, where he like lays him on the ropes and does the foot stomp in the ring. He laid him out of the ring and did the foot stomp that way, which looked like a great spot, but it looked like there was a risk. There's going to be a risk to it. And then Hiromu does a spot where he does a dive, but his dive is like him like going like kind of like sitting, like, you know, like falling like that.
Yes.
With his ass sticking out. Mm-hmm. And it looked like if Dragon Lee doesn't catch up, you know he would have broken his tailbone or something. And, you know, so you know they've done so many things where it's just insane that it's like it was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not just the New Japan guys. I guess, well, and then I guess the reason I focus on New Japan is because that is one promotion I have tried to watch a few times.
The match you probably watched was probably something involving guys who do that sort of thing.
Stiff shots, stiff head shots, which I don't think's necessary.
On Axis, you've been watching it?
Yeah, not for a while, but
back when you had cable.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and now you just search around enough on the web to find it, but no, I don't want to say like they suck, they're not talented, but I just have kind of a hard time watching some of that. But maybe I should just suck it up and start watching.
But like with Dragon Lee and Hiromu, that's just their thing.
Because I'm sure
you just don't remember his name, Kamaitachi. That's why you were totally lost.
I was, yeah. I got to be honest, I was. Yeah. No, I'll admit it.
Oh, I should mention Kurt called me the last time and was raving about how much he liked La Mascara.
Oh God.
And I was like, Kurt, he's been enjoying La Mascara matches. And I'm like, Kurt, you don't watch AAA. It was not La Mascara. And what was it? 5 minutes later, you figured out it was Angel de Oro.
Yeah. Okay, it's time for a public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen.
As you get older,
and if your initials are VD, it's you're gonna get some early stage dementia here and there.
Well, you're a wrestler too, so.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, not the first time I made a fool of myself, and it's not gonna be the last. Yeah, I was thinking Angel de Oro, but I said La Mascara, which is a sign I'm getting really old. But I guess the point I made was La Mascara had a kind of plain Jane outfit. I dug La Mascara when he was active.
That's why I wasn't like all shocked.
Yeah.
What shocked me was that you were telling me about current stuff, and I'm like, you don't watch AAA. He's in AAA, and then you're like, and then you were like, when did he leave AAA? I was like last year he got fired.
Yeah, it was, and I remember that clearly too.
He got fired. Remember? And you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Which I guess brings me to my more coherent point. Is I meant to say Angel de Oro. This is like extreme dumb shit dyslexia on my part, but Angel de Oro is one of those guys. I never disliked him, but
another guy.
Yeah, another guy. Just you couldn't get as generic as. In fact, if you came up with a wrestler who looked like a plain rap label, he'd look more exciting than Angel de Oro. But since he's lost his mask, man, I am a fan of his. He's got those teen idol looks, and he's really expressive, and he's one guy who
he'll probably end up in WWE at some point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm a huge fan of his now.
I mean, I would think they would probably want to, because I mean, that's kind of like the look that they're going with, like the Mexican guys, like good-looking kind of guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think. I mean,
I think so too.
Yeah.
No, what I'll never forget is when I was driving through Portland in 1984. That's when Tom Pritchard was working in Portland, and so I dropped by to say hey to him. We were hanging out, and that was kind of like when Vince McMahon was kind of in the middle of his expansion, trying to nationalize wrestling. And Pritchard said something, he says the biggest change in the business is they used to sell fights and feuds and the passion behind the matches. He says, I think they're going to start selling sex from here on. And it didn't happen right away, but yeah. That's what it is. I mean,
you could tell with Roman Reigns.
I could see some chicks digging it,
well, I remember Randy Orton, like some of the women.
Yes.
And we're like, what are you? What do you get, Randy Orton? Where the fuck do you get that? But I love Randy Orton. It's like, what?
I know. I don't. I guess it's I don't know. I don't get it.
That's so disgusting to be watching wrestling for that stuff. I mean, come on. We don't watch. I'm not watching CMLL.
I was never turned on by Nakano and Manami Toyo. I never was.
I'm not watching CMLL for the Green Girls or anything.
I watch it for Ambapola. She's my eye candy. I think I was born a woman because I'm more attracted to women who look passionate in their activities rather than their looks. I love looks too.
This is going all over the place.
Yeah, this is going all over the place. It's like the good old days.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So, would you have if you were in a match? Would you have? Well, actually, I just want to know what are your thoughts Do you think you need to tell wrestlers to cut down on all these high risk moves?
I think so too, especially.
Or do you think it's just something that's naturally going to happen no matter what?
You know what? I think no matter what, it's going to happen unless the promoters man up and not man up, but get wise and say.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be this type of person that's gonna go on Twitter and be like, oh, wrestling needs to be regulated and stuff like that. I do think there should be a little more concern about head trauma and stuff like that.
I agree.
Neck, anything head, neck. If you could prevent that and if it's a wrestling hold, you should do it as much as possible. I mean, there's some points where it's going to be accidental and it's going to happen.
And this is one thing, especially with lucha libre, is.
But then even when I say that. A body slam, a power slam, that also affects that region of your head, depending on how you land. So
it does.
It's I can't really.
Well, I think that's what how do I put it? Yeah, I want for one thing.
It's not going to happen in Mexico. I'll tell you that.
I know it's not going to happen, but just my thoughts. If
for New Japan and for WWE, that would be the.
Yeah, I mean, but when I do think of Mexico, one of the things I think. And I'm going back to the tag match we were referring to earlier with Aramis.
Uh-huh.
And though they only did a little bit of mat wrestling, but that was good. And I still think that would get over if you did more of that and then broke out into the high spots as the match progresses. Remember that match we saw about 12 years ago with Dos Caras and Blue Panther at City Industry?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if they did a high spot. They did hold for hold, and the people were going nuts. That was poetic.
Well, you should be. You didn't watch Blue Panther do a dive into the crowd recently, then? I
did see him do a dive.
You did?
Yeah.
You saw that match where he teamed up with his sons?
Yeah.
So Blue Panther's just as insane as some of these other guys. But it was pretty safe because he had.
But I was going to say, but I think what I'm meaning. If you still want to do the insane dives, do them.
It wasn't that insane.
But you don't have to do. Yeah, it was a standard tope.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
it was a plancha. He did the tope, then he was going to do a plancha. He was going to do a plancha into the crowd.
No. What I'm saying is, if you did some mat wrestling, then started doing the crazy moves, you don't have to do as many crazy moves. Yeah. I think you'd still get over. I really.
I don't think it's so much that. I just think maybe they just need to cut back on certain moves that seem like really bad ideas. Like that move, to me. The Phoenix Plex, what I don't like about it is that basically one guy has control of your entire body. Basically. It's the entire thing is it's him. You have to trust that guy isn't going to do... First of all, you have to trust that guy isn't going to let go of you and do it correctly. Mm-hmm. And second, you have to hope you land correctly. And that time he didn't land correctly.
Yeah. Well... I would think, if several people have been hurt that badly by that move, I think Dragon Lee should just do a different finishing move.
It's not like he doesn't have a bunch of other moves he does that are really cool.
But he could do something.
No, I'm saying he has a lot. That's what I mean.
Exactly. There's something else he could do.
Yeah.
When I was very first training in the early 80s, when the local guy Pistol Pete was training me, I mean, he was an okay worker.
What was your finisher?
My finisher when I got married. That's the finisher that probably saved me. That was a bump that probably. Did you
have a wrestling finisher? I know in Lucha you did.
The only one in Lucha was the Cavernario.
Yeah.
Just the Cavernario because I think it's the coolest.
You didn't win when you were younger.
Nah, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't know about the Cavernario till like maybe the early '90s, and that's when I started doing it.
And back then, they didn't really have a lot. Like when you first started out, the finisher wasn't like this huge thing like it was. Nah. I think it happened like in the late '80s, wasn't it? Like when WWE started naming everything like the DDT and all that.
Some of the guys like Superboy always did that plancha, the frog splash.
Yeah.
And he did a really cool version of it.
Yeah.
But no, there wasn't a lot of emphasis on finishing moves.
I could picture you doing La Mystica.
Oh, I can't.
I want to like see you try it and like just.
I'll try it, but the reason I can't finish it is because I'm too dizzy from all the spinning.
You go up and then you just land flat on your face.
That'd
be pretty.
I was talking about Pistol Pete. He was an okay worker. Yes. I mean, and that's not dissing him. He was a safe worker. He was, when he did his best, he had a good match. He did a Tombstone Pile Driver that looked really cool.
Yeah.
And I think he knew it was one of the coolest looking things he did. And he did it on one of the local veterans. And afterwards, they're talking about the match. And the guy said, "Hey Pete, I got to tell you, the Tombstone, my neck's a little messed up. You might want to be careful with that." And Pete never saw him do it again.
Yeah, probably. Fuck you. No.
That's what industry's no, but I give it to him.
Yeah, I think
here's a move that made him look really good.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. Like I think that like if because Dragon Lee did an interview, I think Monday night, and he was asking the guy who was talking to him, because Dragon Lee always asks like, "What did you think of this match?" or "What did you think of that?" And he was talking about how he saw some of the comments that people made, and he was like, a lot of people are hypocrites because they don't know what a wrestler's life is like. They don't know what we're going through. He doesn't know what we're doing in our matches and stuff like that. And he was talking about how like he was worried about about Hiromu and stuff like that. And he was saying how like he asked the guy who was interviewing, he's like, "You watch a lot of wrestling. What did you think about the move? What do you think I should do?" And the guy was telling him, Cassandra told him once, we're not in there playing Barbies. We're wrestling. We're gonna get hurt. And I think he probably could have told him, I think it's a dangerous move. But I'm guessing, I mean, the guy he's talking to is like a dude who loves like a lot of that wrestling, so he's not gonna he's not gonna tell him. And I think it's not our place, like for me as somebody who's never wrestled, it's not my place to tell like a wrestler you shouldn't do that move.
No, I'm not good telling people
because that's not my job.
Yeah.
Like if Blue Panther went and told him, you know what, maybe that's not a good move for you to do, or if Negro Casas told him, or his brothers told him, or dad told him, that would be totally different.
Absolutely.
But if it's or like the guy who got hurt with the move told him, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do that move ever again.
Exactly.
That would be different. But like if somebody just randomly told that, like that's not, you don't have a right to tell the person.
No, you have a right to give your opinion.
Yeah,
but
give your
don't
opinion.
Go tell them you shouldn't do it. I mean, I'm gonna say I think if a move has repeated injuries, like
you yourself have to use a little common sense. What else was I gonna say? Oh, Piratita Morgan passed away.
Oh yes.
We should talk about that.
I got nostalgic on that because I remember seeing him live.
Did you ever get to see? You saw him live.
Saw him live at Cal State, Los Angeles.
Did you get to hang out with him and talk to him?
Got a good pic of him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, when he's coming out, got a pic and he did the.
He sounded like he was a good dude too.
Yeah.
It was really good. Like he was basically Mascarita Sagrada's touring opponent. What great job that is. I mean, he pretty much
totally.
He got about 20 plus years of a career just doing that.
Yeah, that's
wrestling all over the world.
That's a dream.
Mexico, the U.S. for WCW and WWE.
Yes.
2 WCW matches. One actually made Nitro too, so that was actually pretty cool.
Was he always Piratita Morgan in the American promotions?
He was Batallon in WWE, and he was something else. But
I thought he was something else.
Piratita Morgan most of the time.
Yeah, I really dug that guy. Well, that was like also in my mind, that was kind of like the glory years of the minis when they really were minis and they were good workers.
You know, we were talking about Piratita Morgan when he passed away. How one wrestler you saw mentioned how he thought he worked with him.
So I'm hard.
Guess what? I saw somebody else think
No
that
way.
too. Yes.
So folks, we've seen a few wrestlers who have said, yeah, wow, he was such a great wrestler. It was good working with him. And then in comments, dude, that was Pirata Morgan you worked with, not Piratita Morgan. And
yeah.
No, he was awesome. You said he had been sick for a while?
Yeah, they said he was sick for about the last year or so.
That's sad.
Which, you know...
I mean, it happens, but...
Yeah,
I always feel sad when you hear about somebody being a really good guy and a really good professional worker.
Yeah,
you know?
I looked at his Facebook page, and it was just nonstop. People just, talking about how nice a guy he was and how much he'll be missed. And looking forward to seeing him in the other side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, man... That always bums me out.
That's
And we had a lot of people pass away in wrestling lately.
This year,
Vader passed away.
Vader passed away.
Egipcio,
Chicano
Power, Arcángel de la Muerte.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. He died young
our
too.
Our local guy Gil Ariano.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah.
That's one of the few things that sucks about getting old is not so much getting old, but.
At least we're making it like past a certain.
Oh, exactly. The hard part is just looking in the rearview mirror and seeing people who aren't with us anymore. That it's one of those things that when I was younger I knew. Oh, this would suck getting old and your friends start passing away, but it does suck. It really does.
Well, it's like you're losing. What as far as wrestling's concerned, you're kind of losing that. Your childhood with wrestlers because you're like, oh man, I remember this guy when I was a kid and stuff like that.
Well, and it's like when we go to the local shows, there's a lot of people we both know there, and we're both friends with them, and I love what's going on today. But at the same time, I'll think about guys in the local scene that I wrestled with 20 years ago who have passed away, and it's kind of this weird lonely feeling that even though you still have a lot of friends and stuff. There's a lot of friends you don't have anymore, and you miss them.
With wrestling, just like posting videos online, it's like you're like, oh, this guy's dead or this guy's gone.
Yes,
and it's like, shit, man.
Exactly.
It's kind of, and I think the good thing is that if you have video, at least you're bringing back that memory of that person. So there's a little bit of a positive, but it's like, it's not.
It's rough. And it is cool that whether you're in wrestling or just an everyday Joe, if you left some kind of legacy, that's an accomplishment. Is whether it's just with your family or your friends.
The cool thing is now we're getting like a long legacy from LA Park, where it's like,
the man.
Yeah. Do you think he'll end up surviving all these mask challenges this year? Because I think there's a possibility that they could probably pull it off and like maybe bring him back for next year or something.
They could.
Both promotions. I mean, possibly.
They could.
But I don't know. I mean, can they trust him?
You can only trust him so much because kind of like a Brody, he marches to the beat of his own drummer.
Yeah.
In some ways that's good, some ways it's not. But, I'm biased because I'm a fan of his, so I think it's kind of cool. But my hunch says he'll drop the mask at the CMLL show.
The anniversary.
That's my hunch, but I could be wrong. And even if they know what's going to happen right now, in wrestling, people change their minds.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
But it'll be a great payday for him, so I'd be so happy for him. And I think he's one of the few people who could still wear the full body costume.
I know.
And get over. The dude is just a great worker.
I'm still waiting for that to happen, like him just with all his, like, because he still has long hair and stuff, but...
Yeah.
And he's a scary
he's a badass looking guy.
Yes, we've actually seen him without his mask, so it's like we know what he's.
Oh, I picture Danny not Danny Trejo himself, but a Danny Trejo character seeing La Parca's face and say, "Oh shit, I'm not messing with him."
Yeah, wearing the La Parca costume, skeleton outfit.
Well, that's one of the things that amazes me. I know he's not doing the high rate of work he was doing, 25 years ago, but still in that full outfit. Working as hard as he does, as heavy as he is now.
Did you see the match? Where he busted out the nunchucks?
No.
Apparently, he's a nunchucks expert too. He was like bringing it out. We're like, it wasn't as good as the matches as some of the other trios matches and the Rush LA Park match, but that was pretty cool just to see that.
Yeah.
I thought the finish that singles match was really great. Just the reaction and the.
I gotta say one of the thing, and another thing, as I'm getting older, when I see something that has a little scent of what I watched when I was a kid, you know, you haven't seen stretcher jobs and stuff like that in a long.
Well, he couldn't do the stretcher job.
No, he couldn't quite do that. But you know what I mean? The angle.
Yeah, they just kept beating the crap.
Somebody's hurt. Is just like.
I love the memes right afterwards. There was this one meme where it's basically the Simpsons and they're dragging away a Simpsons character. The police are
right
because one of them is pretty much dead. So it says, "Stop! He's dead already." Like. Because that's what Rush. I think that's the best part is Rush played being dead so well.
Yes.
Knocked out, and like he gave LA Park and the fans about 24 hours where they were constantly just making jokes about him, and the next day he comes out and he's like, "Hey, make fun of me all you want, guys. Enjoy it right now, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kill that dog."
And you know that there's so many people on the level of Rush who would have refused to sell that.
Yeah.
And
he would have got other guys would have got up and like been like, I'm okay,
exactly, like
nothing's going on.
Yeah, especially when heels want to look like the superheroes. It's like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, is to kick the bully's ass.
Yeah, it's been a fun couple of months.
It has.
The last month or so has been really fun.
And cross our fingers that it keeps going. I hope it lasts a while.
I was gonna ask you who you were gonna pick for wrestler there, and you already said LA Park.
Yes, that's my.
I think there's a lot of guys that are very interesting possibilities just in Mexico with LA Park, Penta.
Yes.
Ray Phoenix, you just saw his match.
He is awesome.
He's been really good. Like all this stuff, I've been watching Penta too, like in Impact, but Ray Phoenix in everywhere. He's everywhere. MLW, Impact, Lucha Underground. Even though Lucha Underground is
true. He gets a lot of
AAA. He's gonna be back in AAA. Although I think if he could like do it all over again and get out of that deal with, I wonder if he would get out of a Lucha Underground contract just so he wouldn't have to deal with the name thing.
Probably.
And dealing with AAA, because I think he's just kind of fed up with that stuff.
I think so, and it must be kind of disillusioning where a lot of the luchadors signed with Lucha Underground, and you know, when you're young, I think you're inclined to think, oh, this is a new thing, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
and you don't realize that most things either don't work out or they change. And
you haven't watched anything from this season?
At all.
It hasn't been that good.
No.
I think they had one show that was pretty good, and then everything else has been very underwhelming.
Wow. And do I remember right, there's no more Dario Cueto in the show?
No, he's dead, and his father's taken over. Antonio Cueto.
I thought he was
still the same guy. It's Antonio.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's the same character.
Well,
he's just an older guy, gray hair and stuff like that.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. But it's just kind of weird because
and I do think
the only problem is the Dario Cueto character works so well. Don't sit on your phone.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it's like the character Dario Cueto was so cool and it came across, whereas the dad is the same guy, but it's a different character, and that character isn't as like. You know,
he isn't as dynamic.
Yeah, he's not as dynamic.
Just the guy who played the Dario Cueto was so good at it.
And it's the same guy, but it's like I said, it's different character.
It just doesn't come
up. Yeah, if he would have done that character, we probably would. I don't think Lucha Underground would have been as popular.
I don't think so either.
If he would have gone with that character first and not Dario, it would have been a lot less interesting.
Yeah.
And I think right now, like a lot of the stuff, like they brought in a lot of guys who just don't fit, like Mr. Pectacular.
Jesus.
It's this dude.
Sounds like a spoof on 80s WWE.
Yeah, I think his name is Jesse Goddard, I think.
Uh-huh.
I think that's who it is. But he was in Impact and all that stuff, but he's not that good. And then Tommy Dreamer.
Well,
Chavo came back.
So it's kind of not really lucha anymore.
It was never really that much lucha.
It wasn't, but you had luchadores.
Yeah, luchadores. You still have some, but it's like it's not it's not like they like. I think all of us thought they were going to delve more into using AAA talent.
I thought that.
It isn't. It basically is the same group of luchadors that they were using. I don't think they added anyone from AAA that's different. Like they haven't added anyone from AAA. Like none of the other people have joined in.
Yeah. And while I did not predict this, obviously, but when things go really well, especially with the new promotion, the first thing to know is you never know what to expect. As good as it looks, there might be flies in the ointment right and left. I mean, expect the unexpected when you know, kind of like we're talking about with CMLL right now. We're loving what's going on. I hope it lasts, but I don't know if it will.
And you know what's happening with Lucha Underground is that since they're letting their guys work other places, now we're seeing like Impact using more of those guys.
And I heard...
And Impact has looked a lot better with those guys than Lucha Underground does because they don't have those... They have silly storylines, but they're not as over the top as Lucha Underground does, and they actually have a little more... They have a little more... They got rid of a lot of the guys that aren't that great, so it kind of comes across a little better.
I've been seeing stuff on Facebook a lot. Somebody says, hey, Impact is actually worth watching right now.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of episodes, and they're not that bad.
Like, wow, that's cool.
It's not
I would have never thought. But...
Yeah. Compared to Lucha Underground, it's been a lot better. And then you see these guys working CMLL and MLW, and even when they go back to AAA, and it's a little more, like, I don't even know... Yeah, I would even say that. I think they come across a little better on those other shows. And
it's like such an amazing time for indie wrestlers, because I don't know if there's ever been a time where so many independent wrestlers could get so much work in so many different places. I mean, me growing up, most of the indie groups I read about, maybe the top two guys would occasionally get work with one of the big feds or something like that.
Yeah.
But mostly indie guys were just local indie guys who didn't do much else.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some dreamed of being big time and some just kind of did it part time. But it's like a lot more people can have a career. You're not going to make oodles of money like if you're on top in WWE, obviously, but you're going to have an interesting time.
It depends, like if you're like the Young Bucks or Joey Ryan, who kind of like they figure out how to make merchandise and stuff like that. But you know, the funny thing, like when did King of Indie start? Like in 2001?
That sounds right. Roland Alexander, right? Yeah.
Dragon Lee just won this year's King of Indies.
Oh, wow.
Who would have thought Dragon Lee, a CMLL guy, would win a tournament, what's considered a prestigious deal, a big deal in the United States? Because, I mean, King of Indies basically started, that's where Ring of Honor got its idea and stuff like that. That was like actually the...
Yeah, and way back when, even smaller American feds, if you used a luchador...
It wasn't to make them the winner.
It wouldn't make them look... The funniest story, you know, and God bless Alex Knight. I love Alex Knight. He's a great guy, but when... Rey Mysterio was still Colibri, and was blowing everybody's socks off and being in, you know, like, not quite semi-mains, but he is up on most lucha shows. And then he was on one of Alex's shows, and they put in an opener, and everybody was saying, this is going to look kind of anticlimactic, because guys in Alex Troop on top were not really on top.
Yeah.
They were under the mattress, stuffed. And his explanation was, well, that lucha stuff exposes the business. And my thought, one, that's stupid in the first place.
Especially in California.
Especially in California, yes. And two, well, if you think it exposes the business, why do you use them at all?
Yeah.
And it's just, but that was the whole mindset with you know, wrestlers from Mexico. You know, people just shat on them like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I marked out big time for Zack Sabre bowing to Negro Navarro, because most American indie wrestlers I knew back in the 90s, not big time ones, but local ones, like, I'm not going to do that Mexican shit, you know.
And there's so many guys now that actually, like, they've made a career out of, like...
Exactly.
Wrestling in, like, the lucha groups in whatever area they're in, and traveling to Mexico. They want to travel to Mexico to, like, learn or wrestle.
Yes, and
you see like Steve Payne, Gringo Loco, guys like that.
Before. Yeah. I mean, maybe it happened before my time in some galaxy far away.
You would get like the guys who were like kind of names, like Norman Smiley, guys like that were kind of working Florida, but even then they weren't that big a deal like in those areas.
No,
they were just guys that needed more experience.
Exactly,
they went to Mexico, made them an offer. They went, and there you go.
And a lot of them was one of the best things. I mean, one of the reasons I like Chris Jericho so much is I remember, this was quite a few years ago, but he was pretty much cemented in WWE, and he was it. But he would still refer to matches in Mexico as and the people he learned from, like Casas.
Yeah, Negro Casas.
And you know,
Casas Negro.
Yes. Hello to whoever it was who says that he worked with Casas Negro. Yeah.
So are we done with it? Are we pretty much have we covered everything?
I have to go. I have to get going because I have to open the meeting of the Kelly family fan club. Microman Fever is going to be our first inductee as the devoted fan, and plug the Patreon account, of course.
Patreon.
I like Patreon better.
Patreon.com.
I like Patreon because it sounds patronizing.
Patreon.com/LuchaWorld. Mm-hmm. You could listen to the Lucha Classica podcast whenever we do it. Mm-hmm. The other podcast I do that I haven't done in a while because it's hot in Los Angeles. I should tell people, I know a lot of people do a lot of podcasts on a weekly basis, but they do not live in Los Angeles where it's 100 degrees or 110 degrees here. And
yeah, we've been sweltering.
You want air conditioning. You're not going to do a podcast just to... What I'm doing right now, I'm going to start doing a little more of those write-ups. I think I want to do that more.
Very cool,
just because I think that's... To me, that's kind of it's easier to do that and then do the podcast afterwards because then we have more stuff to talk about, more options. Yes. Like I said, we just, like I told you earlier, finding out about Gringo Mendoza.
Yes.
Who would have thought there was a guy who came up? Why aren't we seeing more wrestlers just make if they see a wrestler's name, why don't they just copy that guy's name, create their own name off of that guy and
and Gringo Mendoza is
Mendoza? I'm his enemy. Gringo Mendoza.
I love that. It's so different when there was some indie wrestler in the 80s who called himself Bulk Hogan. And, Gringo Mendoza, at least, it makes you look like you snapped or something like that.
And he had hair. He had this really nice... It looked like Brad Reagan's.
Remember Brad Reagan's?
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, this guy looks like he had the young, the fresh... Olympian style look.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy doesn't look like he's some bad guy. And I was reading through it, I was like, oh, and he hates Gringo Mendoza. And I was
awesome.
So this is going to be fun to... Yeah, so I'm going to do a little more of that, depending on our weather, of course, because unfortunately, the other thing that comes from the hot weather here is that we get a lot of power outages in this, not in our area, but throughout, across the area. I think there's some city part of Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's happened several places.
Yeah,
so far it hasn't hit me.
We had one here.
Oh, recently. You did?
But it was only for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
so it wasn't that bad. But there's people in Los Angeles who are dealing without power for the last week or so.
Oh man, and you can't even turn on the fan.
Yeah. Your
battery up.
And it was they showed it, I was watching the news and they're showing the old people, it was an old a hotel, it used to be a hotel, and they turned it into a old people's home.
Oh yes.
I don't know what you call those.
Like a retirement.
Yeah, retirement home. Yeah, and it's the poor people are yeah, it's hot in here. They're showing them their houses. Yeah, it's hot.
Oh, those are the ones who.
When are you gonna call 911? Well, as long as I'm breathing, I'm not calling 911.
So. Well, those are the people who usually fall victims are people who are disabled.
And there's been people that have died in this area. There's been people that have died. So.
And then and it's nothing new. It's happened. I mean, whenever there's a heat wave, you usually hear of elderly people being the most.
I wouldn't expect too many podcasts while the heat wave's going on.
Totally, but that means
probably will
for the Classica podcast. That gives us all the more time to do some research and get some cool historical gems. And speaking of historical gems, if people on Facebook would like to check out my Pulpo Pages of Wrestling, obviously named after Jimmy El Pulpo, it's I have a Facebook page that is a tribute to
Is that where I find information on Dragon Lee versus Hiromu Takahashi?
In their past lives. Who would Dragon Lee be in his past life in the 1930s?
Evil Knievel. I think that's probably the thing you would be that's what these two guys they were Evil Knievel before.
That's right. But yeah, it's a tribute to the journeymen both in America and Mexico from the beginning of pro wrestling till 1980s. So covered a few people already Tomas Riande, Jimmy El Pulpo, of course, Dude Chick, which is one of the coolest wrestling names I ever
Gringo
heard.
Mendoza will be on there.
I'll get him on there, yes. No, I'll research him because he's... Gringo Mendoza just for the name.
Yeah.
Even if he only wrestled in one town forever, he's going to be on the page, definitely. And the one I want to do some research one is a guy out of Texas in the 30s who has one of my all-time favorite ring names. Motorman Right. He's a motorman.
What would motorman be like? Mean like just a car, right? Like the regular.
I think so. I mean, I guess the car still was kind of like a new
thing.
It wasn't a new concept, but maybe being a motorman. Maybe they use that term for racing or something.
Yeah,
I just love it.
I'm guessing racing might have been the thing.
Probably, yeah, but
because it has a different meaning to what somebody now would call themselves.
Yeah, now it'd be more.
How archaic was Motor City Madman? Remember when that name came up in like was it mid-90s?
I remember that name.
Remember it was that white dude who was teaming up with Big Cat, or no, not Big Cat. Was it Big Cat?
I don't remember.
Curtis Hughes, the Big Cat. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Curtis Hughes, and it was a Motor City Madman. I was like, dude, that's a name you would have. That's like a 1960s or 1970s name.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's WCW for you.
Yeah. Motormouth. Now that would be a great name for a manager.
Yes.
A nickname for a manager.
Yes.
You know. Stop calling me Motormouth. It's a disgrace. That's what I miss.
Yeah.
Old managers and wrestlers who would get upset when people called them a certain name in the ring. You know.
Now we got really good names like the Chris.
And I wonder if in about 2 years we're just going to say the Chris really casually.
Well, it's like Caristico. Remember Caristico? We used to think how stupid that name was, and now everybody's like Caristico.
It sounds like Crisco Oil to me.
Yeah,
but now it's
like Caristico. It's like nobody nobody blinks an eye like, oh, it's Caristico. He's good. He's still good. You know.
The first time I heard L.A. Park, I'm saying,
yes,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he's L.A. Park now. And it's cool.
I remember when I wrote that article, that April Fool's joke. I don't know if you saw where I said L.A. Park changes his name to Hollywood Park, and people took it seriously. There were people who took it seriously, and somebody who knew what it meant. Because I wrote at the bottom, I'm joking, and like some dude like wrote, I can't believe this happened. And because I saw it on a message board, I think it might have been the SoCal Uncensored message board, and the guy, I think it might have been Steve who told him, he's like, dude, he's just joking. It's an April Fool's joke. And I stopped doing it because everybody's telling me don't do those because people fall for them. And I was like, no, they don't. Come on, it can't be that stupid. I was like, oh yeah, they can be. So ruined the joy that stuff used to bring me. Like,
that's half the fun of it. That's half the fun. You should embrace it. You should embrace it, especially when people fall for it a second and third and fourth time. That's what's beautiful.
But remember, LA Park was such we were like, this is so dumb. It's not gonna last. And what's it been like? 18 years later, it's like everybody's like, LA Park.
He is LA Park, and it rolls off the tongue beautifully now. I mean, you know, what was trash is now treasure.
So the Chris in 15 years, we will be talking about like, as some sort of legendary character.
Yes, we probably will.
Yeah.
We probably will.
Yeah.
Well, for all you who love Caristico Oil, for all of you who would like to hear about Motorman Right, for all of you who want to hear more about...
The Chris.
Stay tuned! Because we'll all talk about them on LuchaWorld. Even Motorman Right.
Yes.
He'll be an honorary luchador. So, until that time, ladies and gentlemen... Hare Krishna, motherfuckers. See you soon.